It's Tuesday, and apparently we are very fortunate to have Jack joining us today after a very scary incident he's going to tell us about. We're also going to get a recap from his trip to the collectible show, see what's going on with the cardboard bros, and who knows, we might hop into a draft. Although I feel a battle brewing right now. Should it be a puppy draft or an NBA small ball draft? We will find out here tonight on Club Top Shot. Jack Settleman in the flesh. How are you feeling? Do you feel like you have a new lease on life?
I don't know if I've fully processed, the craziness that was Sunday. It all happened very quickly. But yeah, definitely very, very grateful. I think my big takeaway is definitely wear your seatbelt. We were in Atlantic City all weekend, taking 6-10 minute trips everywhere, taxis. And, if you're in the back, you just don't throw on your seatbelt. It's these short trips. So the fact that we're on a longer trip home to New York, put on a seatbelt. We're going on the highway on the Parkway. But yeah, that's seatbelt probably saved my life.
So were you were in like a proper taxi cab, not an Uber?
So I'm just saying we were in Atlantic City all
Yeah.
weekend. And so whenever we would hop in Ubers, they were 5-minute rides to the hotel or to
Yeah.
wherever. But this was, we actually, our bus got canceled on Sunday home. So instead of looking for another bus, we were like, it's a couple $100. We'll just, we'll call an Uber. We were probably halfway there. We were in the left lane. There was Casey, my brother, was asleep, and then I think I just kind of nodded off a little, maybe. And then when I opened my eyes, we were spinning. We went from the left lane to the right shoulder, crashed into the guardrail. The other guy we think, probably wasn't wearing his seatbelt. He got ejected from the vehicle. Our
Holy
Uber
shit.
driver, yeah, our Uber driver was okay with us. They landed a helicopter on the Parkway,
Holy
helicoptered him
cow.
out, and then yeah, Casey and I both took the ambulances to the hospital. I had a seatbelt mark, so I went to trauma. He was in the ER. It was yeah, it was a fucking time.
Dude, I'm so sorry. That is
Yeah.
horrifying. And did you end up getting any details on like what happened, what caused the driver to spin?
Yeah, so the police report, or what the police told us, was the other driver was speeding. He hit the guardrail. He left the vehicle, and his car came all the way across, clipped us, and we went all the way back across the guardrail. Apparently, it was just the two-car crash. The police report probably comes out in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, I don't believe it was on our driver. I felt like he was doing a good job, but
Yeah.
yeah, opening your eyes to that is definitely freaky.
Jeez, dude. Yeah. And I mean, I saw that photo of you and Casey at the hospital. Did you guys have any kind of like injuries? Or are you just feeling like general stiffness and stuff right now?
Yeah, so I mean, I had a seatbelt mark, so I had to go into the trauma center. They cut all my clothes off, ran, 8 different tests on me. We both had CT scans, neck pain, back pain, hip pain, all that stuff. So yeah, pretty banged up.
Goodness. How's Casey doing?
He's doing good. We're kind of taking it slow this week, so we've definitely blast off into a bunch of BBM drafts, which is a nice way to take our mind off stuff with training camp. But yeah, he's doing well. Uber driver, he's doing okay. The other guy, he's not. I don't think he's doing okay.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I don't know if I told the story on one of my morning streams a couple weeks ago, but I had like my near death experience on the highway a couple weeks ago where my clutch gave out and my car stalled out in the middle lane of the Pike, the main highway in
Oh my God.
Massachusetts, and I was watching semis bear down behind me and swerving at the last minute, and then I finally got a reprieve in the traffic, was able to put it in neutral and roll back down the hill into the shoulder, but I had one of those
Holy
moments
shit.
where I'm looking in the back of the rear view mirror being like, one of these semis is just going to bulldoze into me.
Right.
And like, I'm like trying to process like what the optimal move is. I was like, do I just abandon my car and just like get out of the road and,
Right.
like just try to leave it? So yeah, I mean, the way like time freezes in those moments, and I'm sure for you, like when you wake up and you're spinning, it's like, it's such a weird, disorienting experience.
Yeah. It's probably the quickest and slowest day of my life. Like in the moment, it like, they're saying it's 10 minutes to get to the hospital and it feels like it's 4 hours. And then you look back later that night and it's just like, what even just happened? So yeah, I think wear your seatbelt, obviously. I'm also a big proponent of mental health. I can't deny that I'll probably would be in my best interest to talk to someone and go
Yeah.
through and work through the trauma of it. But just very lucky and thankful.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously we were, we have a thin bench tonight. Everyone's still very
Yeah,
busy. I appreciate Jack doing it. I mean, I hear it in your voice, like you're definitely shook and stuff. So we're gonna all be very respectful of how you're feeling. We want to, do a little bit of a show, but fair warning, if this is a shorter one tonight, it is what it is, and we want Jack to be taking care of his mental health through this as
yeah.
well because
No, I
it's
appreciate
common.
that, and yeah, anything that can make it a more normal week is appreciated. So I'm glad you're drinking. I haven't started drinking yet, although later in the week we'll definitely be partaking. But yeah, let's have some fun.
Yeah, no, I'm also glad that you got to get back to your parents' house. I'm sure there's something like comforting
Yeah,
about that as opposed to just being back in the big city.
yeah.
Cool. Well, before all of that, I mean, what was the experience like at the collectible store? People want to know if you did get the Lamar. What was what's up with the cardboard bros?
Yeah, so National was great. I would say so last year, if you guys remember, was in Chicago, this year in Atlantic City. Um, I felt a little bit more of like a corporate vibe, more I don't want to say money hungry, but like Chicago felt like there were just, a lot of people excited because that was when sports cards really took off, collectibles in general. This
Yeah.
year it really felt like a bunch of new companies have started up. They're spending a lot. They're getting involved in the space, and people are there looking to make some money. And there's nothing wrong with that. That was just kind of the vibe I got. Ironically, there was no phone service nor Wi-Fi,
Whoa.
and so everyone looks up the former the most
Yeah.
recent sale prices, so like people had to go outside and do it, and like it was mayhem. You couldn't find anyone. It was tough to communicate. So I don't know if Atlantic City will actually get um another show. I'll talk about the Lamars in a second. Other fun highlights: Ed Reed was gambling in the Borgata. Allen Iverson
I
wasn't
saw
playing.
your Instagram
Yeah,
story. Yeah.
yeah, he roped off a table of roulette. Someone, the best part about this stuff is like the rumors just start flying, and like someone was like, "Yeah, he gambled like 3 million on roulette." Like, I, seems doubtful, but who knows? That Reebok check's gonna hit pretty soon. But yeah, we did pull off some Lamar buys. So first one was this. Can't really
Hang on,
see,
let me
but
see if I can get it bigger here.
so this is Lamar Jackson's rookie card. National Treasures is like the set, I guess. So it's numbered to 99. It's got a patch from his jersey. It's got an autograph. It's number 96, and it's a PSA 9. So pretty good condition. And that was like kind of what Casey and I thought we were going to end up leaving with. And then late Saturday night, we aped in, degened in, to what is a same card in a Beckett 9, so a little bit worse condition, but it's a gold, so it's actually numbered to 10. So there's only 10 of these guys. So super, super rare. And so we got our Lamars. And then other one I'll show. This is my favorite. This is probably the one thing about sports cards that I love, especially the National, is I bought this Andrew Wiggins. Like I don't even know what it is. It's a 1 of 1. It's got like a little bit of a. It says player used item from when he was in the All-Star game, but it must have been from, because this is an old piece, I think, from like his Cavs or Wolves day. So it must have been when he was in like the Rising Stars Challenge or something. So yeah, that's a cool little aspect of it. But either Casey and I and all of Baltimore are idiots and Lamar sucks, or the general population is sleeping on Lamar. It wasn't a legitimate hassle to find Lamar cards. Not even like
Really?
one. Yeah.
Like people weren't showcasing them even if they had them, kind of thing?
No one brought them. No one had them. Now, partial of that you could argue was like no one wants to sell Lamar because people are losing on Lamar, and that's like a a huge thing in sports cards. But they had everyone: Mahomes, Herbert, Allen, Burrow. How
did Kyler fare relative to him?
You know what? That's interesting. There wasn't a ton of Kyler either, but Hurts, Tua. There was a little bit of Mac Jones. But like, all right, I'll give you an example. So this Lamar, which is the one out in '99, National Treasures, True RPA. We got this. We negotiated it for like $12K cash.
Jesus.
That same card, Joe Burrow sells for like anywhere from like 50 to 70 grand.
What?
Yeah. And Tyrese Maxey, who's the third best player on the Sixers and the 50th best player in the league, sells for the same price. It's like it's insane. And then so this Lamar, which like I said, we degened into this one. This was like 22. This is the biggest purchase that I've made in physical cards. Only one bigger in collectibles was my LeBron moment. So that's 22. A Herbert, same card, sells for $250,000.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So like that's why I'm like, okay, maybe Lamar's not as good as those players. Like some people think that, but like that gap is just absolutely insane. And so it's Mookie said, Lamar's insanely undervalued. Part of it is like, I think that gap should close. But what I also, what we're very conscious of is like the narrative around the player matters just as much about like the actual performance. So even if they put up similar seasons from performance wise and from efficiency numbers, like I don't think he catches Herbert necessarily. And the narrative on Lamar is all now playoff. So yeah, if he wins the Super Bowl, but like if he goes to the Super Bowl, in theory, that card should 10x or 5x. Like, so we like to buy. We're gonna be all in on Lamar anyways, but yeah, the gap on the two is really insane. Oh, and I met the homie who does the ETR collectible podcast.
Cody Main or Gary Hartman? I think those are the two hosts.
Yeah, I forget who we met, but he was wearing an ETR t-shirt, so we chatted him up for a little, which was fun.
It was probably Gary because Gary lives in New York, so that was probably quick.
Yeah, he drove from New York, so that makes sense. So yeah, those are our big bets on Lamar. Very excited for it to have, what could be a really cool car.
Yeah, and what it is so crazy, and it's a bummer that there isn't more inventory in the NFL all-day marketplace to kind of see that. But like again, the lens I view stuff through is obviously fantasy, but even looking at like the dynasty market. And like Lamar is still routinely the second, third, fourth quarterback off the board, like viewed right up there with Mahomes and Josh
Yeah.
Allen right now. So it's like, and again, I know fantasy is a little bit different. Sports cards are putting a premium on, championship, and they gravitate toward the more pure pocket passers. But it's like, you're sleeping on Lamar if you don't think he's capable of making that, full leap as a passer and winning a Super Bowl.
Yeah, it definitely. When I got home, I actually went through the all day market today, kind of just looking at the player I'm most interested in, that I was kind of looking for, but we were really there to just buy Lamar, is Lawrence. Like, I think Lawrence had a really tough situation last year. He was the number one pick. Like, I think he's super talented. So I was kind of looking at his. He's trading at like a 2x multiple of Davis Mills, and Herbert and Mahomes and Burrow are trading at only a 4x multiple of Davis Mills. Like, those multiples should actually be a way wider margin. And Davis Mills might be a bad example because I thought he was pretty decent last year, all things considered. But
Well,
yeah,
it's funny you say that, because like it's Mookie says sports card market is essentially what have you done for me recently, but
yeah.
this Trey Lance price would beg to differ. Is there any Trey Lance love in the physical market?
There's not a ton. His stuff trades up, like similar to Morant, Zion. Like, it's just the hyped up young kid in that rookie class. And then
Yeah.
normally they fade, but Lance didn't have a full season. So like Wilson's stuff dipped pretty hard, but has come back a
Yeah.
little bit with the offseason hype. But that Lance numbers definitely doesn't shock me.
Yeah. Yeah, it is so interesting to see kind of the differences there. And it also goes, I mean, we talk about this with like best ball in different contests or different formats and getting exposure. It's like, it's actually kind of fun for you to be like, hey, maybe I get priced out of Lamar in fantasy drafts where everyone's taking him too early. But if he's undervalued in the sports card market,
Yeah.
that's where I can go get my my heavy exposure.
Yeah. A little overexposed for sure. But
Yeah.
what I jokingly say is like, if it all goes to shit, and I can just say, well, I collect what I love, and if you make a sports bet and you lose it all, you look like an idiot. But if you buy a sports card and it goes to shit, you're just collecting what you love.
So what is your guys's kind of plan for that moment? Do you guys have like a target price, a set duration until he wins a championship? Like, how do you want to play that?
Yeah, so there was a huge conversation because originally we were between the two cards. Like, we really didn't want to spend that much on both of them, and it was like, should we try and get two of the little guy or the big one? And like, having some self awareness that we're like, if he's playing fantastic, like a lot of the people in the card space were like, if the Ravens start 3-0 and Lamar looks good, like that card could easily double or triple, right out of the gate. So we bought the two because we would like to flip one. It's different risk reward profiles, right? Like, if he is 3-0 and we can flip the smaller one for 20K, and we're essentially, free rolling half of that on the big guy, and then it's our bet on Lamar long term, then maybe that's the case. But yeah, we're gonna hold it for a couple weeks into the season and see how it goes.
What kind of liquidity is there for moments of that caliber? Like, where would you put it for sale or for bid, and how much action do you think you would get? Say, let's just say in that scenario,
Yeah.
they start 3-0. He looks like he's off to a fast start. How does that work?
Yeah, that's another that was another thing we are talking about, is once you kind of reach that high level, right? You hit a much smaller market. So you'd probably go to like an auction house, and then the auction houses they're moving so much product that they're not always going to highlight your stuff. There's also like, if you list it for 2 weeks, what could happen in just
Yeah.
2 weeks of action. So yeah, the bigger one would be for the auction house. The smaller one we could probably flip on like one of the marketplaces, some of the mid to high end marketplaces. So yeah, that's the plan. Nothing ever goes to plan. We'll see. But taking this convo to more like, Top Shot all day, stuff like that. We walked around like 20 times, the whole venue, asking everyone, do you have high on Lamar? Do you have Lamar? Do you have Lamar? Not only were there not people selling, but like just tracking down the card was such a
Yeah.
pain in the ass. And then you have something like, these online marketplaces that make it 1,000 times easier. And I said this last year when I left, like, yes, we found, the Lamar's to 99, but there's Lamar's to 10, there's Lamar's to 5, there's horizontal Lamar's to 99, there's, Lamar Flawless, which looks very similar to National Treasures, which has a whole range. Like, we saw, $1 million of Lamar cards across the weekend that, like, what is his true market cap? It's absolutely insane. And that doesn't even, start with Herbert and Allen and Mahomes and Brady and all those guys. So definitely the online thing is way, way easier. I did not make it to the steady break stuff, although I heard that was pretty cool. But yeah, it's always a pleasant reminder.
Liam asking about kind of the profile of the card buyers and if it skews boomer and the type of people who watch Colin Cowherd and, have a propensity for disliking Lamar and Jalen Hurts for, a variety of reasons, perhaps.
Yeah. I think I don't know if it's boomer. I think, like, it is what it is in that people, like, they view these as investments, especially the high end stuff, and what they view as a pocket passing quarterback, like, is what they view as a safer, like, all the numbers, right, would say that actually mobile quarterbacks are getting injured less. Being in the pocket is actually your highest risk. Lamar actually got hurt last year on a passing play. Like, that's the danger. But they view it as like Justin Herbert, big arm, quarterback, accurate, whatever it may be. Someone was also asking earlier about, like, what's the scene there. It's all ages. There's definitely a lot of money in the older generation, but they're also selling a bunch of vintage stuff. Like, there's a ton of people, in our age range who are there. So I would say, like, no different. Not a lot of NFT talk this
Yeah.
weekend, but I see, like, I the digital collectibles, specifically the ones that have these licenses, like, I really, 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 really think they win. I just don't know who wins, and I think that Top Shot and All Day have had a really good last month, I would say, which is encouraging, and I am excited to look at the All Day market. And, like, if you are a believer in All Day, and this is the last time I delisted a bunch of my stuff, is like, if you're a believer in Dapper, then the fact that I could buy Justin Herbert's legendary moment to 56 for $4,000, when I could literally, you would have to buy the probably 50,000th rarest Herbert card for $5,000 at the show. Like, that's how much Justin Herbert stuff there is. So if you think they're the winner and you believe in it, right, it's obviously a bigger risk, but, like, you could end up with some serious money.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be really, it is funny even just hearing you say they don't have Wi-Fi and cell service at these things, which is like the most boomer thing ever of like,
Yeah,
you want everyone there being walking billboards, advertising how much fun they're having, all their inventory. And I mean, you guys, like, that's your whole thing. And you
yeah.
weren't able to like blast off a ton of content.
It was crazy. Yeah, you had to run outside to, like, post stuff, so we would just do it after the fact. But yeah, it was fun. I definitely, like, if you're in Chicago next year, anyone, or, you just want to see what it's like, or an excuse to go to Chicago, it's cool. Like, if you're deep into NFTs, you're interested in collectibles and all this stuff, you see some cool stuff, you meet some cool people. But yeah, I had a good time, and then, at night I was playing poker.
I
It was
saw
fun.
your Instagram story. You won like a high hand or some kind of thing for
Yeah.
a bonus.
So Thursday or Friday night, I've played poker once before, like, live. They called me World Series of Poker because I didn't know which direction the table went, and so I always am just, like, fucking with my chips, and I would be up to play, to move, and I would just be, like, not paying attention. And they thought I was, like, really thinking it through. So, and I won a bunch that time on some awful calls. I play way too wide of a range. So similar, this time, but I ended up winning a couple hands, and so finished positive. Next night or two nights later, I wasn't getting killed, but like I was definitely down, probably back to even on the trip. And Casey and I were just dead tired. And I was like, all right, one more hand. I wanted, a two person hand. Didn't even make it past the flop. And so I'm like, oh, I can't leave now. And then whatever, it was just one of those things like one more hand, one more hand. And eventually it reached midnight and I was like done. I really was done at this point. But in the whole room, there's like a high hand bounty for $500. And at midnight, no one had hit it. It's every 30 minutes. So someone was like, it's just like it's sudden death. And so I
Yeah.
jokingly said to Casey, like, I can't leave with this expected value. Like, let me play one more hand. And I turned an ace five. Thinking back now, I'm not quite sure why I was even playing the hand. But like I said, wide range. And I end up pulling a full house, three aces, two fives. Guy across from me calls we were playing 1-3. So I think the final bet was like $150. And he was just like, I don't believe you. And so he flipped the cards and I won a big pot and it got me back to even on the night. And they were like, yo, you just you just won. I was like, won what? And so I hit the high hand too for $500. So it was a good night.
There you go.
And then I hit another number for $100 on the roulette table. So the luck was good this weekend, all things considered.
I assume it was Casey getting you to play poker, right? He got
Yeah.
really into. That's what he was telling me when we were in New York.
Well, that was the best part is he lost every night, and he knows, he actually knows what he's doing. So there's nothing more frustrating for him than me being like, "Oh, you lost again? That sucks." Like, and he's watching. Then he came over, and when he would bust out, he would come watch me play, and there's $4 in the pot, and I'm betting $20, and everyone he's like, you got to be limping in. I have no clue what I'm doing.
What happened with Casey too? Because we were, he was like when we were in New York, he was trying to use your free gym passes. He was, being all cheap. Next thing you know, I'm in a big dog draft or whatever one it was for $500, and then Casey's in there. I'm like, how all of a sudden did you go for begging from gym passes to blasting off $500 underdog entries? What happened
there's different budgets, similar to when you're finished with dinner, but you can have a lot more dessert. So he's got different budgets apparently for different stuff. He's I think he's 90, almost 90 BBMs through right now. What are you at?
I'm almost to 100.
You are. Wow.
What are you at, Jack? Because you famously brag about how you're going to max it.
No, I always max in my 1 year of participating. I entered like 8 slows and got Jonathan Taylor like 3 or 4 times, so that was fun when I got home on Monday. I'm only after those slows, I'll be at like 33. So I got work to. I like drafting late. I know I do my a bunch super early or 20% super early, but I draft throughout August. And it's it's such a grind by the end of August.
Yeah, so here was the bulldog we did. I did this one with a group of the ship chasing guys in the Discord, but then we had Casey here for the 7 spot. And we were disappointed he didn't draft a worse team. He had a pretty nice structure there, got his Josh Allen dig stack, of course, did indulge a little Baltimore pick there, but fair value on Bateman.
So he was telling me that going into the weekend, he was like, yeah, I get the 1-7 or 1-8 every draft. Yeah. He's drafted, I think, 6 or 8 times today, and I think he's had it in every single draft. He can blindly pick the digs. He ends up with like 1 or 2 guys on the turn, and then stacks with Allen every time. It's got to be the least original stack.
Oh, he never passes on Allen if he gets digs.
He will occasionally, but it's tough too when you have digs and then Allen comes around.
Yeah. This was a tough room. We ended up getting a structure pretty.
Saquon at 211.
What's that?
Saquon at 211.
Yeah, I know that's not going to happen much anymore.
Yeah, he's boosting up the boards, but yeah, I gotta start drafting. Sometimes I do forget that also have like the first week of September, but it could, I guess, in theory, fill before that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think things are gonna slow down right now while the puppy's open because
Yeah.
people just love blasting off on the $5, but, we're at 45%. I think if they wanted to have this fill earlier, they could have just not done a puppy, right? And people kept doing this. I think they'll probably my guess would just be like 3 or 4 days before the season it fills.
I can't believe so many. I mean, I get it, but I don't know why the puppy doesn't like get me excited. It's so interesting. What'd you think of the
You
Dalmatian?
you can't get excited for 200,000 bucks up top, Jack? Come on. I guess if you're buying Lamar cards for 12K, Jesus.
Yeah,
No, I like all the different tournaments here. The structure is actually a little interesting in this one. The final's pretty big, like compared to the Bulldog, where it's like
yeah,
8, 6, 6, 6 for the size groups. This one has a 40-person final. So great news for all the correlation bros who still want to do week 17 stuff in smaller field tournaments. But yeah, I like having all these options. I'll probably hop in maybe sometime on stream. I will do a Dalmatian here. There was some debate in the chat, like, I assumed we would maybe do a puppy draft tonight, and then guys in the Discord were saying, "How about an NBA one?" Then there was some pushback. I don't know. What are you feeling? What is the chat feeling? What would you guys want to do for a draft tonight?
yeah. Whatever the chat wants. I definitely have not blasted off into any NBA yet. Like, not only do I not want to think about the NBA because it's not for a couple more months, but uh, who knows? Like, the whole league could literally get shaken up over the next couple months as well.
Yeah, I mean, you're telling me if you think you're flying blind heading into an NBA draft, tell
Right.
me about. It's like I can do one of these puppy drafts with my eyes closed, and the NBA draft would be the exact polar opposite of it. Ricky says, "Is the Dalmatian 101?" I swear to God, the only reason they even did the contest was so they could price it at 101. That
100%.
had to,
Rudman, no, it's a combo of Rudman telling the social media team tweet out a dog footprint and eyes emoji, and then let's price it at 101. I'm waiting
uh,
for the Overzet tournament or the men's tournament, $69 entry fee.
I know. Casey, we just pulled up your Bulldog team. We said it was fine. It was good. I mean, I don't like making a habit of backdoor stacking dusty players like Robert Woods and Ryan Tannehill, but you got your structures down well. I can't poke holes in your
Yeah,
structures.
if he's not a pro drafter by now, then there's something seriously wrong.
Yeah. Let's see. It looks like we're getting some puppy. Willis wanted an NBA. I say let's wait to do an NBA when we get back some more of our NBA thought leaders. I know NBL would probably have fun with
Yeah.
that. Andy would. So though we have plenty of time. I mean, when does the NBA season start, Jack?
It starts, I want to say end of October. So it's actually scary how it's only like 2.5, 3 months away. It feels like it just ended because it did. Uh, not bad.
So asking me my exposure. Yeah, I was I'm never good at victory lap injuries, but this one broke well for me because my one of my biggest bet
Mm,
let's see here if I do to tilt it to best ball mania, double the field on Hamler. So just running lucky there. But yeah, just a brutal news for Patrick. And I had recently said to myself that I wanted to start drafting more of him, that I was, prioritizing Hamler too much. Just because of the cost difference was so different there. But yeah, brutal news. It's like I was writing about it for the newsletter tomorrow, and it's like we know these injuries are inevitable. It happened to
yeah,
Cam Akers last year around this time, and it still stings like every time. It's so brutal.
yeah. Knock on wood, no Kenny Gainwell injuries.
Is that your biggest one?
Yeah, right now it is. All right, are we getting a puppy?
Yeah, I did a puppy. You can either try to get
Already
in
filled?
or you can draft with me. This one filled quickly. These things are like snap filling right now.
All right, I'll join for everyone in the chat. 4 more to start.
Oh,
Um,
you're gonna do a runoff one?
Yeah, let
Okay.
the others in the chat take their expected value against me.
Yeah. Ricky. Yeah, I know. Right? People are clamoring for their 5,000th NFL draft. I mean, I've talked about this on other streams, like even with the Superflex contest. People love the familiar. It's like we talk about this specific contest, this specific structure and strategy. And apparently there's just some comfort to it because people just could watch a million of them.
I mean, the fact that you could, like, I got the 1-3. Like, I've drafted out of there 2 or 3 times, over the whole course of the summer, so you're definitely gonna get a unique drafting position, and sometimes when you're drafting out of the same spots often, you don't even know what it's like, you don't even know who tends to be on the board when you're up. Like, there's some name like, Tolbert is never on the board, not because he's being sniped pre-injury, but like CeeDee Lamb, I didn't realize he went like right at the turn because
Yeah.
I was just never getting that pick.
I had a moment like that earlier today because I have been joining some of these puppy slow drafts. I am more of a fast draft bro now, but I was like, if I want to get, 50, 60 entries in this, I'm going to need to do some slows. And in the second round, I got Aaron Jones. And I was like, I haven't drafted Aaron Jones in like 45 drafts. I forgot he even existed, but he was at the top of the queue. So I was like, sure, I'll grab Aaron Jones here.
Yeah, yeah.
Looks like some of you guys are in the overflow draft. If Jack wants, he could. I don't know what your computer set up. You could share your screen. We could toggle back and forth from these boards if you have that.
I'm just gonna. I'm a,
Michael Zimmerman's hit down bad, accidentally
yeah,
entered a BBM.
accidentally, right,
Yeah.
right. Oh no. Oh, I'm in the big dog again. Oh no. Yeah, we met some people who were best ball drafters. We were talking with them. It was interesting, like a guy who used to play on draft, and they said he was constantly finishing in the top 20, and his strategy was player takes, and like he has certain takes on players, and it's just funny that I still think there's obviously evidence and there's numbers and analytics to being better, but there's only been so many years of best ball that we can really say the data supports.
Uh, Yeah, I'm gonna take Eckler here. This was kind of a gift. I feel like if Eckler goes here, this might be the grossest spot in the board when you're looking at Henry, Cook, Harris, Mixon. This is a piss boys room. All the wide receivers coming off. The back end of drafts are just not fun right now for me.
Why? Oh,
I
oh,
just I just think there's a
percent.
huge tier break after like Diggs and Kelsey, and then in a room where it's like at least sometimes you can get Adams back there, but this room with the badge bros out is just going to make us take these running backs with all the question marks. And then it's just like, and then on top of that, the wide receivers in the second round are gross. Like Mike Evans is overvalued now with Julio there and Godwin's timeline looking good.
Yeah.
I prefer the wide receivers in the back end of the second round with like Higgins and AJ Brown. So it's just like, I hate how it lines up. I do really like Swift and Barkley. And I've been taking good about them. Jack teasing a little Barkley alpha. Maybe I'll continue to add some Barkley shares here.
Yeah, I think Swift Barkley are the two league winners this year. Obviously, health being health. But that's the fun of this is who knows.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, of course you would have gone CD. But I mix and match my starts. We'll see how piss boys of a room this actually is. On a lot of our ship chasing streams, you'll get buried in a wide receiver avalanche. But sometimes there's these head fakes with these drafts too, where then these guys start to scoop some of the running backs, and then you're fine. We will find out. We will find out.
Do you draft on DK? Do you play any best ball over there?
It's funny you say that. I did my first DK draft at the beach the other day. I just thought I would check it out. And it was a miserable experience. Yeah, I hated every second of it.
Because of what? Like the people you're drafting against, the product,
Just
or
the UI and the mobile experience isn't fun. The notifications are bad. There's no board.
yeah.
You can't import your own ranks or have any, like the ADP doesn't update as much. I don't know. It's just it's not
So
as fun.
what do you use? Are you using ETR rankings, and then are you using like spike week overlays?
I have the Brick Sports HUD here. So this is like his like draft caddy, and then you can customize the different things. So right now because I have week 17 matchups memorized, I have week 16 in here. And
Oh
then
my!
The green, this is for my BBM. Obviously, this is puppy,
Yeah.
but this is my BBM exposure in green. And then the blue is my average ADP when I have taken this player. So I have 4% Fournette, but I've gotten him at an average ADP of 26.3
Wow.
versus his current. So you can kind of see the players I got, maybe bought in early on before the rise, or the players I bought in on and then got cheaper. So I kind of like having a gauge of, what price I was getting those guys at.
That's
Casey, well, Casey, tag me in the Discord or whatever. Well, I'll get you squared away for that. Brick mentioned to me, he's like, "Is this Jack's brother?" Because he saw a settlement with it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Wait, can we talk about something that was really upsetting?
yeah.
I, it's okay that I'm high up in the Fed power rankings, but losing to Smiz was like that was like too much for me. Like, is my rep really that bad right now that like I could, that was really upsetting.
I see. I pushed back on Brian when he had that there because I just think you'd be too much of a liability of a Fed. Like you have to have some element of like laying low a little bit more. Like if
Right.
you had that much of an online presence as a Fed, you're just waiting for a mistake
Yeah.
to slip up. So
Yeah.
I push back against the Fed rankings there.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I thought Smith was like the 101, but maybe I'm having my Jonathan Taylor off season right now.
All right. Yeah, this is getting pretty gross. I was gonna feel okay about things if Waddle fell to me because I think Waddle is mispriced. I will take my guy Kyle Pitts here at tight end. I can't get enough Pitts right now, man. I'm
Yeah.
gobbling him up here in the back end of the third. But
Or,
I am gonna have to start drafting wide receivers eventually.
yeah, or else it gets ugly.
What's going on in your overflow draft?
I went Cup at 3, Javante 22, and then I jumped up I took Mike Williams over Brown and Pittman just for week 17, but nothing out of the ordinary.
Is your draft is wide receiver heavy as this one?
No, decent amount of backs have actually been taken. Like we're at pick 30, and Brown and Pittman and DJ Moore are still there. Like DJ Moore and Sutton, they haven't even been like in my thing when I'm paying attention for like 20 drafts because I'm just never the third or fourth pick.
Wow. I'll tell you, see, this is what I mean about, why Gabe Davis 4 picks ahead of ADP. I like Gabe Davis. Not my typical wide receiver one, but we're gonna battle back. We're not gonna let the Badge Bros win this.
So the actually funny story on the way to AC, Casey and I were, we just wanted to hop in a draft on the bus, and there was no service. So Casey tried like queuing, like just starting someone the first round. And he hit Eckler because he had the 1-8 or whatever.
Yeah.
And it magically, I texted Rudman. Rudman says there's no way it's possible. I have to watch it happen. So like we have no clue what happened. But he took Freiermuth at the 1-8.
At the 1-8?
At the 1-8, but then like we drafted the rest straight up, and
anchor tight end.
Yeah, I was like asking Rubin, like, will that get canceled? Or like, will it fly? He was like, no, just one pick. And then I was in a draft today where someone was just on auto draft, and like their team is like so shitty because of it. Like they drafted like Herbert, Mahomes, Rodgers, and Brady. Like, hey, their quarterback numbers are going to be spectacular, but they finished with like 4 wide receivers or something.
We were talking about that. We did Justin Herzig hosted a Spaces the other day, and I was on it, and Rudman hopped on as well. And someone was asking like what makes them toss it out, and it seems like they have almost an algorithm that kind of checks stuff. And he was specifically saying like 3 to 4 quarterbacks early, like that's not going to trigger it. I think that probably has to hit a few more thresholds.
Yeah, we were in a draft where like Zamir White and Chris Evans went 1-2, so that one did get tossed.
Yeah,
but that's what's funny is like, will when one team is so messed up, does that actually increase the odds of that draft, or does it hurt because it screws everyone's stacks? It screws like there's no correlation when they're just picking off the top four quarterbacks.
Yeah, well, Hertzig's takes was like if you can thread that needle of like the guy who takes 4 elite quarterbacks, but you're able to like sneak through a Kyler or
Right.
Lamar, like get the one that they don't get, like
Yeah,
then your EV actually really goes up if you can, because he's going to ruin it for everyone else, and then you kind
right.
of still are able to draft optimally.
Yeah.
Um, what was I going to say here? There was something I was going to say, and I'm forgetting now. Um, let's see. I'm going to be on the clock here in a second. 0% David Montgomery. You love to see it. Mm.
What is your player take on Gabe Davis? Player, not from a fantasy perspective, just like just your
God,
player.
God damn it, Moody. This room is brutal. Um, my like what how can I don't give a shit about anything but fantasy, Jack. I mean, what do you I think okay, let me try to do a real Gabe Davis player take. Like
Okay.
he didn't have a ton of draft capital, but he had a good college production resume. And the fact that he was able to get on the field pretty early and quickly for the Bills bodes really well. And the thing that's really helping him now, like again, I think he has talent because he was able to get on the field early, but he was also competing last year with Emmanuel Sanders for like outside snaps. And now that just like doesn't exist, right? Because his main competition now, Beasley and Sanders leave. They bring in Crowder to replace Beasley, but they didn't bring anyone else on the outside to
Yeah.
compete with him. So like who's pushing Gabe Davis off the field? And when Gabe Davis has been on the field, he's been really efficient and good. So I just don't know really what the bear case is against Gabe Davis with this setup right now.
And McKenzie won't take time, right?
Well, I think McKenzie's
Like
more in a
from an
battle with
outside target. Yeah.
I think McKenzie's more in a battle, yeah, with Crowder. I can't imagine them using I think it's gonna be Diggs and Gabe Davis on the outside.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it is funny to see why he's so polarizing, and it like makes sense to me, right? Like because
Rick comment.
people want to see it, right? They don't want to. Why am I drafting a guy in the 4th round who hasn't done it? But it's so funny though when you think about these underdog tournaments, right? And it's like these 1 or 2 weeks matter so much. We fucking saw Gabriel Davis put up like 50 points in a
Right.
single game. Like that, just knowing he has that capability, and
Right.
now he has less target competition this year and it has more experience in the league. I think he's a great pick.
Well, there you
Do you have a
go.
bear case? Do you have a bear case?
No, I didn't even like until it became trendy to have a bear case on Gabe Davis. Like I didn't really get why there was a bear case. Like why would it? He's in what should be the top offense in the league, and he's wide receiver 2, and he had an insane spike week. And the last time we saw him, like, why not?
Yeah. So this is definitely a piss boy shit. Whoever thought we would get a ship chasing room here on fucking Club Top Shot. I thought we could get some soft drafters in here. Where are the cardboard bros in here drafting bad teams, fading Lamar? And instead, I'm just getting buried underneath the wide receiver avalanche. But I will say, I'm not stubborn enough to make the mistake where I keep scooping the running back values. Once you realize what the room is, then you have to pivot and
Yeah,
adjust accordingly.
you have to play the game.
Dave Montgomery goes at pick 70 here.
Wait, he went at 70?
Yeah, pick 70.
What does chat have to like? Does chat have interest in NFL all day, or cards in general? Like, I was definitely looking at the market today. There's the stuff's actually decently up on all day. Not as much on Top Shot, but the stuff's definitely been going. Like the Herbert I bought as part of the promotion ran up. The Brady's I bought have ran up. I don't know. I just thought that was
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how they roll out the product this year now with a full season, a full runway, like what the cadence is. My biggest thing, we've said it all along is like I want the curation to be better this
Right.
year.
Right.
I want it to feel exciting. We all know after a week, there's a few plays. You can't ask for an iconic play every week, but there's only gonna be a handful of plays that we're all really excited about, performances that matter. And it's like try to build the coolest moments and rollout around those each week, as opposed to being like, all right, we have to deliver 50 moments for week
Right.
one. And it's like, no, like if it's a week where there's only a couple good moments, like that's fine. I'd rather have it be a battle for a few good moments than just have it be the stock thing every single week.
Yeah. Yeah. Gives you that chase too.
Yeah. Um, so look at, I mean, wow. Wait, Trey Lance went at 74 and Kyler slid to 78. Why are we giving I was inverted Kyler at 78 in this room? That's stupid. Now I'm mad. God,
It's
I'm not
because
having fun in this draft anymore.
it's because Kyler doesn't watch film, so people are they're out on him.
Jeez, disgusting. What did the Trey Lance guy? I mean, I like Lance. He did it unstacked. If you have an unstacked and you had already taken Hurts, I don't like this pick. If you're gonna do this, like, why aren't you taking Kyler? Huh. Weird. Bizarre. I'm not tilting. I'm having a great time. I love drafting with all the badge bros. Um, I do think this is another thing that medicine schools brings up. I hate how much defense is involved in all day. I mean, this has to be an NFL PA thing, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
not good for the product ultimately.
Yeah. I mean that's another thing with sports cars is you rip through a million things. Like there's a bunch of shit. I mean, I might even thought I had cards up here, but like there are players you've never heard of and stuff like that. So yeah, it was just the amount they printed in top. Like they went from like a cap of what was it like 2,000, 1,000 in series one, and then by series three there were 100,000 Bruce Brown moments. It was just like it was a shock to the system for a lot of people.
Ricky says I cracked 2 Deontay Foremans in my first pack and I was out. See, I get excited when I just get an offensive player. Like maybe that's the genius of it. They got me to be excited about any offensive
Right.
player because I'm so worried I'm going to get a fucking punter or a defensive lineman.
Yeah. Yeah, I think good plays that would also that's probably their biggest struggle is like you release a rookie Devontae Smith card, it's just a photo. Devontae Smith's best moment from his rookie season might be a touchdown, but like it could just be on a slant and out route, like not even that good of a play. So in that regard, it's tough. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
what about the Rainmaker stuff? Have you looked at that at all?
I haven't. I saw some of the promos. Didn't you say you were talking to Kalish the other day? Did you get the
Yeah,
lowdown on Rainmakers?
yeah, he came on our podcast, which should be releasing, I think, this week at some point. And he was talking that up, saying he's in the Discord and he's really excited about that stuff. So I hadn't been following it that closely, but I'm curious if others have.
Yeah. I mean, I will say I'm very excited for TOC this year. It was the first like NFT based game that actually hooked me and transcended where I wasn't reading like, oh, I'm interacting with NFTs. I love my NFT. I was like, no, I was just playing the fucking weekly best ball DFS
Yeah,
game and I had a blast doing it. And I'm excited that they're gonna roll out. They had the playoff pack thing. They're gonna have that for the full season where you rip a pack, then set your lineup. I just love best ball and the DFS game element, and I thought they nailed it. And so I am looking forward to those things, and I'll be interested to see if DraftKings is able to integrate and do something similar.
yeah, yeah. We talked Tim Patrick. Pizza still a big believer and thinks you should still draft him.
Well, I was starting to get spooked. I mean, Crane had talked to a Denver beat and who thought that Jerry Judy was like the wide receiver 3 there behind Tim Patrick and Sutton. I mean, Patrick hype out of camp was big. I was definitely I could have been very wrong on that situation.
Yeah. There's been a lot of chatter about Judy not being that good. It's so funny. Like I thought he was incredible coming out of
Yeah.
school, and then tough situation. Then I think he had the ankle last year. He's had injuries, but I I mean I think that I think people really undervalue like I just think they undervalue these quarterback jumps. Like Russell Wilson, the gap between Russell Wilson and Drew Lock is quite and Teddy Bridgewater is quite a big difference.
Yeah. Joshua saying Tim Patrick got hurt today. An understatement. He's out for the year. Torn ACL.
What's the word on Sky Moore? I know he was like way too high, but now he's right under MVS.
Yeah, he has dropped back a little bit. Obviously, this draft isn't the best indication. Pick 89. What is his ADP? I think it's actually around there. 97.1. Yeah, I mean that's he there was a point where someone correct me if I'm wrong. I want to say he was like up in the 70s there for a
Yeah,
while. This is a very palatable price to me, and he's getting rave reviews out of camp too.
is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, how much do you overreact, underreact? Like I actually think sometimes people underreact to what we're seeing. Like they don't want to believe it. Look, if someone reports that Josh Kelly's running with the ones, and then they fail to leave out that Eckler isn't practicing and Spiller's, running with the wide receivers during a drill. I think that's bad. But like, I don't know. I guess last year with the Chase stuff, people thought he couldn't catch, so that maybe that was an overreaction.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I'm following it all closely because I write up the news blurbs in the
Right.
newsletter and stuff. The one thing I noticed, and I believe Sigmund Bloom from Football Guys coined this once. He called it the steady drumbeat. Where it's like if you just continue to see this over and over, because if you scroll, there's this Twitter account called 32 beat reporters, and he retweets like literally any camp report, and you can see like
Yeah.
the whiplash in real time. They'll be like, yesterday it was Jalen Hurts looks awful, can't connect with anyone, and then today it's like he just had the sickest throw of all time to AJ Brown. And it's like if you're reacting to all of that stuff on a play-by-play basis, I mean, there are those that just keep coming up repeatedly that I'm like here's an example of one. Pat's rookie wide receiver, Tyquan Thornton, I swear to God, is getting hyped up like every day, different beats, different
Really.
people, like different avenues of who covers football. And I'm starting to be like, Tyquan Thornton is going to be a thing here if Mac Jones can play better. So yeah, if I hear it over and over, I start to really perk up.
See, Clay, I don't know if that's true about DJ. Like um the only thing I saw, and maybe that's what you're referring to, is that he like hit someone in a wheelchair yesterday with an errant pass. Like that's
What?
just
Is there a video of that? I should
no,
look
it
up.
was just a tweet. Like Jones just sailed a pass that clipped like a disabled. It was something bizarre. That I was just like, why are we reporting on this? What do you think about the Giants though? I'm very high on what I think Dabble is gonna do from a fantasy perspective, but also just like I think they could win the division, and that might be fucking insane. And you can call me insane, and you are probably right, but
I mean that division's wide open.
that's what I mean.
Yeah. That I do think, like, if you just went through like which teams have the widest range of outcomes, I do think the Giants are one of them. Like
Yeah,
them winning the division, Daniel Jones like putting together like a top 5 fantasy season, like that wouldn't shock me. Or Daniel Jones just like getting benched by week 10 and out of the
yeah,
league next year. That wouldn't shock me either.
100%. That's a
Uh
hilarious comment from the devil.
yeah.
Um,
So I don't know here.
so who's your
Team
squad right now?
My
Stafford.
squad, I hate it. I did end up I scooped an unstacked Stafford. I do have the Eckler week 17 thing going there. But thought Stafford at 106 was nice for no QBs yet. And then I did tack on Singletary because I just absolutely hated this stretch of available wide receivers after I went there. So I did grab another running back. So yeah, Eckler, Barkley, Singletary, Gabe Davis, Elijah Moore, Devonta Smith, Chris Olave, MVS, Kyle Pitts. I think it's fine.
Casey was
It's fine.
saying that what was he saying? Oh, that is it true Zach Moss is like back in the picture potentially?
Yeah, that was another thing I've written about in the newsletter of like these backfields where we all hope they're two-man backfields, but there might be a third guy.
Yeah.
There was also Travis May writes for Rotoviz. He said he used to cover or go to a ton of training camps for the Titans. And he was saying that it's very routine. One thing he's seen over the years is like a lot of players get first team reps early on in training camp. Like they're kind of giving everybody a crack. So
Yeah.
we're at this point. Like another one is the Chiefs right now. We keep getting reports like Isaiah Pacheco, the rookie running back, has been getting like snaps with the ones. And it's like, okay, they're probably just giving everyone in that room, running back room, some snaps there. So that kind of stuff, I'm just like, it's a constant push pull of like what you want to believe, if you think there's a nugget, a kernel of truth, or if it's just complete noise.
I kind of root for just absolute chaos when it comes to that stuff. Just not even from like I'm not drafting a lot of Bills or the running back. Like I just think it's hilarious when like that could screw up so many different teams in so many different ways.
Yeah. No, it could. Um, it could. Let's see here. What am I going to do? I might get one more running back and be done here just because I'm going to have a hard time getting a Stafford stack. So let's go ahead and grab Henderson, who here's another training camp one. Someone asked Sean McVay about Akers, and every time he would talk about Akers, he would talk about Henderson too. Like he would never just directly answer about
Yeah.
Akers. He'd be like, yeah, we got two great guys back here. So that's like another one. Like if that backfield is more of a 50-50, I mean, Akers' price isn't even that bad, but I mean, Henderson will be in a really, really good spot at that price if that is a true 50-50. What do you have going on in your team on your team?
I know he got surgery, but do we like Irv Smith? Like he's fine, right?
Yeah, I probably want a little discount on him just with the surgery stuff, but
Yeah. So I've got Mahomes, Javante and Akers, and then 7 wideouts: Cup and Mike Williams, Thomas and Olave. So I'll get James later. Lazard unstacked, and then MVS and Mikol.
I feel like
Mahomes.
Lazard's a controversial pick right now.
I'm all over Lazard. What's the anti Lazard take?
Just that he, like, from a profile standpoint, it's just he's kind of blah, right? Like he
Yeah,
can serve as the slot receiver, but it's hard to see. Like the lens I always view it through is like, could Lazard be like a second or third round pick next year? It seems like so unlikely, but could like Christian Watson or Romeo Dubs, take such a huge leap? So I think people
yeah,
just aren't really excited about Lazard as a player. And the reason you're drafting him is like, hey, if he's the number one and is getting X amount of targets from Rodgers, he'll be usable.
yeah.
Starkindler says this stream produced at least 3 full puppies. This is why we are underdog influencers. We fill these puppies as if they would even need us to fill these.
Yeah, without our influence, they might have taken a couple more minutes to fill.
This is Deshaun Watson sucks, but this is a good price on him. I've seen him going in like the 10th and 11th round in a lot of drafts after the 6-game suspension news. 13th isn't bad.
What Paul, how do you even pronounce that? Paul and Boats?
Pollen Boats?
Is he in my draft?
Is his name Gruntman, or is he calling you Jack Gruntman?
Well, there is a Gruntman 6869, so maybe.
I just would have liked this if your new nickname was Jack Gruntman.
The Gruntman draft in my draft is Burrow, and then James Conner, Zeke, Isaiah Spiller, Henderson. He's got Chase Higgins, Amon Ra, Sky Moore, and Boyd, and then Goddard. Is that too much? Like if you get Higgins, Chase, you don't need Boyd, right?
Yeah, I probably wouldn't push that. Did you get the premium stack with Burrow?
That was Gruntman.
Oh, that was Gruntman. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Romeo
It's
Dubes is a top name.
I know, but did you hear how like we've been calling it Dubs, and I guess he came out and said it's Dobbs or
Yeah,
something, but
uh,
I'm just refusing not to. I'm calling him.
what
All right.
what are you doing about Watson from a fantasy perspective?
Well, yeah, I was saying like 13th round. I had a decent amount. My average ADP on him was like 160 in BBM because I did have some where I got him like super cheap, and then I had some where I was, taking him in like the 10th, 11th round when it sounded like he wasn't going to be suspended. I do think like for Puppy, I think you can just take him wherever because this tournament hadn't been open for so long. But with Best Ball Mania 3, there's like good teams who have him as an 18th round pick. So I don't know how much I want to compete with those teams.
Right.
The room did allow me to get my very clean New Orleans double stack there with Winston, Olave, Landry, and my Devonta Smith bring back. So we're battling, we're rallying here.
Would you say every team you draft is correlated?
Yeah. I mean, I don't always get in my week 17 bringbacks exactly like I want. But I'm always stacking up teams.
Yeah.
And I will grab Higbee here to give me at least one Stafford pass catcher. But yeah, like that's the one thing I think the bringbacks are important, but I still like my hierarchy of correlation is like I want to bet on groups of teams and players from the same team. I see a lot of people be like, I can't grab Rondell Moore with Marquise Brown because I didn't get Kyler. And like I just completely reject that kind of thinking. Where, if you're able to say you have another elite quarterback who can keep pace with Kyler, but then you have, the Cardinals in a week 16 or a week 17 where they score a shit ton of points, like you still want access to those points, even if you're not getting them through every which direction.
Yeah.
Willis says CSU has so much 18th round Watson. He probably was fucking playing golf with Watson's lawyer and knew he was going to get off scot-free and was loading up. I mean, it's probably the Jerry Jeudy situation all over again.
Seriously.
Ooh, I've been wondering about these two Colts receivers are interesting. Alec Pierce and Paris Campbell. Okay, what Coleman wants me to that you have such a dicey name, team name for me to it's just like,
I can say it. Jewish or
I thought
Jewish.
is it Jew Ice or Jewess?
I read it as Jewish. I don't know, like almost like the wrong last two letters of Jewish.
All right, so what did you do? You got CMC at 5. That seems fun. You did take Aaron Jones. You got DJ Moore at 29, Judy 44, Brees Hall, Traylon Burks, Russell Wilson with Judy, Claypool, Garrett Wilson, Zach Ertz, Julio, Robbie. I like this team. It was good.
You
I
should
think you did well.
rip a Baker Mayfield, Pete, just to get him.
Just to tilt him.
Yeah. Flatbush zombie rapper. Oh, it's Juice.
Have you watched the new Nathan Fielder show, The Rehearsal?
No, I haven't.
Did you watch? Are you like a fan of Nathan Fielder? Did you watch Nathan for you?
No, I didn't.
All right, that's some TV watching homework for you. Start with Nathan for you, and then I can do rehearsal stories. But there was a very funny. Basically, the premise of his new show is it's like a reality show in people who have various events in their life that like, oh, I have to tell a friend something I've been putting off forever and I just don't have the courage to do it. And so then he simulates these realities as a true rehearsal to make them more comfortable for these big moments in their lives. And so this guy was doing a rehearsal for a conversation he needed to have, and he was making like some anti-Semitic references. And Nathan Fielder, who is Jewish, is sitting here being like, well, this is how you talk to your brother. I guess I want it to feel natural for you, but I have a hard time scripting and okaying you with these anti-Semitic references. It looks like the chat is in on the rehearsal.
Is it a TV show or a movie?
It's a TV show. But it is I would say it has a cinematic quality to it. It's so absurdly over the top in a wonderful way.
I gotta say, I always forget how hard it is to draft while being on stream and engaging with chat. It's a skill that you definitely have conquered. It doesn't hurt to memorize every single correlation known to man, but
Yeah, we're gonna get I mean, the degree of difficulty in this one's a little harder because the room is tougher. But we're gonna set up a 3 quarterback build here. The porn bots are here. Goodness.
it's always the start of a good stream.
Yeah. Yeah, Evan, we're not going to encourage people to watch rehearsal without watching Nathan for You. Although I think it could kind of hold up on
What
it.
is
The
Nathan
premise is
for You?
so that was his first show. So he's a Canadian comedian. He has a very dry wit in delivery, but the premise of his first show was he was like a marketing expert that would go help small businesses. Do you remember Dumb Starbucks? That bit went viral of
Mm-mm,
his.
mm-mm.
Um, so like as an example, he did there was a frozen yogurt store that wasn't doing well, and he's like, you need to get a flavor that gets everyone talking.
Right.
And so he was like, did like this poop flavor. And then there was like this line around the door, and the news station came and wrote it up. So he basically would do these stunts to bring publicity. But then the actual genius of the show is he finds these like characters, these people in life who, are kind of tragic figures, but like also clearly want some sort of attention. They're 15 minutes of fame. They're normally kind of in a vulnerable position in life where they're willing to kind of go along with his zany ideas. And then it's shot almost in like, documentary style. And as the show goes on, he gets more tied up with specific individuals. Like one of the recurring storylines was there was this Bill Gates impersonator who he ends up getting very intertwined with across a multi-episode arc. And that's kind of what the rehearsal is now. Is he did one self-contained episode, and now we're on to like the third episode with this same premise. And it's kind of fun because you can tell they have their script. They're like, yeah, we'll do this episode, this. And then they kind of just throw it out the window, and they're like, we're following this because this is so interesting. And we're now just going to make this new thing we discovered the show.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, I'll have to
anyways,
give it a try.
Yes, Joshua. I actually every time before I go on stream, I do about 5 test streams just to think about the things I'll say, burns at the chat. And then that's what gets me so comfortable before I go on air.
Very important. Kyle Journey's comment is hilarious because I would like to be friends with Kyle and share. I'm also an optimistic person. 100 years from now,
100 years,
people will still not know how to draft properly.
Probably. I do agree. I think it probably
Europe betting has been around in Europe for hundreds of years, and people are still betting 9-leg parlays. Like people will just do whatever they want.
Well, I think there's a few things that the field is going to get better. That happens. We've seen it happen in DFS. Yet I also think the player pool is going to get bigger. I think best ball has even a bigger ceiling than DFS. I think the kind of casual person it can bring in. And I also think we'll continue to see more inventive game types as well, which anytime there's a new game type, it means there's new edges. So I highly doubt, I believe best ball will for sure be here in 10 years. I don't know if it will always look exactly like this. But yeah, the field's going to get smarter, but new people are going to come in as well. So do I see best ball thought leader here, Casey Settleman?
How
you doing, Casey?
Player take?
I'm good. Thank you. My Gabe Davis player take, I agree. Solidified position in a high power offense.
Okay.
What's your player take?
Oh, my player take on Gabe Davis? I mean,
do you think he's good or not?
I haven't really watched him enough. He came on the scene pretty late. I don't know how good he is as a receiver, but
I mean, some call him Jerry Rice.
How good do you have to be catching balls from Josh Allen?
Pretty good. He's pretty inaccurate.
Casey, how many Bulldog teams have you done?
Just 2. Similar to what Jack was saying. I save my money elsewhere so I can feed my best ball addiction.
Okay. All right. That's fair.
Yeah, they don't have phone numbers for best ball addiction, just gambling addiction. Because this is game of skill, you know.
Correct. And I want to say, you know, despite I did have a moment there, I believe it was in the beginning of the 4th round, when I did take Gabe Davis, where I was like, all right, this might be a miserable draft. I feel happy with how I've recovered. I ultimately like my team.
Do you ever walk away from a draft where you're just like, that was the worst?
All the time. Yeah. Two weeks ago on my Monday stream, I just was so miserable. And so I shotgun started my Best Ball Mania stream on Monday. I registered before all the Badge Bros knew I was in, and got in there and closed the door behind me.
What happens to tight ends? Like, this gap. I feel like once you get to Austin Hooper, you're in hell.
Oh, yeah. I mean, at that point, you got to get funky. You know, do your Taysom Hill, get your rookies, Greg Dulcich or Trey McBride, do something wild there. Yeah, exactly. There's definitely been drafts where I've been unhappy. What wide receiver? Should we roll the clip? I mean, I'm not going to actually roll the clip, but metaphorically.
Are you drafting him again? You're falling for that?
I am. 9%.
Oh my God.
It's like, am I going to really take Ben Skowronek to like stack with Matthew Stafford because Van Jefferson's hurt? Or am I going to take fucking Laviska Shenault, baby?
You wouldn't rather Odell?
No. See, Robert's telling you to go get Dulcich. All right, Willis. You want the clip, Willis? All right. I'll give you the clip. Here we go.
It is a great clip. I mean,
it is a great clip. What am I better editing? The funny thing, Willis, is like there's probably a decent amount of people watching the show who don't even remember the origins of this and are wondering why is there a Laviska Shenault clip for a 2022 draft. But that video was made a long time ago. It was actually funny. It was the first year I started doing randomizer drafts. I was doing something with TJ Hernandez and he was like, yeah, let's take Laviska, you know, late round, you know, rookie. And I was like, I don't even know what Laviska looks like. Never seen him play in my life. So I just went to YouTube and started watching some highlights of him. And next thing you know, we fell in love with the Laviska Shenault. Now we're ready for the 3rd year breakout. No Urban Meyer. We're ready to go, Jack.
I mean, look, I'm Team T-Law, so. All right, what 4th place team, projected 4th place team, do you think has the best chance of winning the division? So, Lions. I guess Lions aren't. Maybe the Bears are, but let's call it Lions, Giants, Jags. I know Houston's worse. Pittsburgh. Out of those 4, who do you think is the best chance of winning the division?
I don't Pittsburgh. That seems like way too big of a hill to climb. I do feel like the AFC South is wide open, but yet I don't have a lot of confidence. I still feel like the Jags need another year. I do think it's the Giants. I think the Giants, I mean, I'm looking at odds right now. Cowboys plus 120, Giants plus 650. I mean, that spread isn't, I mean, the Texans are plus 2,500. Jags are plus 750. So even there, they have shorter odds. I do think it's the Giants. I think they have a really wide range.
Yeah.
I can see it from the chat too with the Jags. I could see the stench of Urban off that team. Lawrence taking a leap. Kirk ends up being really good. ETN ends up being really good. I can see it coming together.
Yeah.
How did your team end up?
My team I just was not paying attention with my tight ends. I drafted 6 running backs because I didn't feel very secure with just Javonte and Cam Akers. I've been going just 5, but I wanted a 6th. Wideouts are good.
Let me hear him.
I've got it's Cup, Williams, Thomas, Lazard, MVS, Olave, and Hardman. But my tight end is Irv Smith and Dolchich. So like I don't.
Wait, no, you got to go 3 tight ends.
No, I am. I'm going to my last pick, but I could have drafted Taysom, but I had Jameis, so like I wouldn't draft Taysom there, right?
No, you can, because the thesis of the play is if Taysom gets quarterback points, you're getting those quarterback points at tight end, so you don't have to worry.
But isn't that the thesis of the play in general? Like, you're not actually taking him because he's going to catch touchdowns this year, are you?
No, yeah, exactly. The thesis is like either they use him, like, because there's already been the Nick Underhill, the reporter, was like, yeah, they might still have some of those packages up their sleeve, and so it's like if he's getting some goal line work, like. It's so easy for a tight end who's playing quarterback and getting goal line snaps to outscore your Evan Ingrams of the world and your Austin Hoopers. Like, those guys average like 5 points a game. So it's like you get 1 touchdown from Taysom Hill, and then all of a sudden, if he's playing a few quarterback snaps, so I get the thesis of it. I haven't been a Taysom Hill guy quite as much as like Davis has. I think Davis has about like 40% of his teams. But I do really like it in like a 3 tight end build where you've already made a bet on the Saints. I think that those are the times to grab him.
Makes sense. All right, I'll finish it up.
All right, guys, this was fun. Jack, thanks for rallying tonight, and we're all very, very relieved and happy that you're doing all right.
I appreciate it. I needed to take my mind off it, have some fun. So I appreciate you guys. Appreciate chat as always, and I guess I'll see you in a week on Tuesday. Wait, are we getting Matt Berry news soon? Feels like
I believe so. Yes. I believe in the next few days we should be hearing some stuff.
Yeah.
He just had an Instagram story. He was on his way to film some stuff.
Yeah, maybe I'll text him, see if he needs anyone to break the news for him.
Yeah, I'm sure Matthew will let you break his news. Yeah, and we did get word. Andy's finishing up his world tour back from Spain, I believe.
I've been working the whole time bit him and Allie were doing on Twitter today. I don't know how I felt about it, but
yeah. I mean, if anyone could multitask throughout a Spain trip, I guess it would be Andy. So we'll hopefully get him back in the saddle. I think we'll probably all be way more available here once summer ends, once football starts. So we'll get back in our rhythm. Appreciate you guys hanging with us. Come chill with us in the Discord. And we'll see you guys next week on Tuesday, as always, for Club Top Shot. Peace.